For a closer look at China's investment in Eastern Europe and vice versa, we welcome Kartatsina Narwat, visiting fellow at Harvard University. She joins us live from Boston, Massachusetts, where it certainly is not as cold. Thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Let me start by asking you, the relationship between Eastern Europe and China, that has grown a tremendous amount over the last few years. What's happening here and why are they growing so close together?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. And first and foremost, I would like to stress that actually we have very long history and tradition of trade and economic relation with China and Central and Eastern European countries, as in fact the Central and Eastern European countries were the first to recognize People's Republic of China. However, over the last few decades, I would say that we kind of lost Chinese market, but only in the last few years we can see the real renaissance between Central and Eastern European countries and China, which was really underpinned 1 year ago, and 2012 at the first Central and Eastern European Summit in Warsaw by Wen Jiabao, who proposed the 12 proposals for the countries from the region to strengthen the cooperation.
Eastern Europe, since the fall of the Berlin Wall, has changed so much. They now have factories. They're part of the manufacturing engine for the entire part of Europe, if not globally. In one sense, they're friends with China, but they're also competitors as well. How do they manage that?
Yeah, well, I would say that there are a lot of similarities and also a lot of complementarities between China and Central and Eastern European countries. Especially many of the countries from the region, they are countries in transition into market economy as China. I think that the cooperation between the countries and China could be very beneficial for both sides on a win-win situation in many aspects, and especially what sectors we see, it's infrastructure, it is high-end manufacturing, and also services.
Which way do the goods flow? The stuff that China makes they want to sell to Eastern Europe, or the stuff in Eastern Europe they make that they want to sell in China?
Could you repeat? I didn't hear properly.
I said, which way is more promising? The manufactured goods coming out of China being sold in Eastern Europe, or vice versa, the stuff being made in Eastern Europe being sold in China?
Well, what I would say, it's after the summit, after 2012, and what you can see from Bucharest from these days, I think there are really high hopes and expectation in countries from the region, and especially the countries, they do hope to increase their export to China, because when you look at the data of bilateral trade, there is a huge asymmetry. As for example, for Poland, we actually export 1/10 what we import from China. So first and foremost, it's increasing the export, but also the countries do hope to also attract as many Chinese investment as possible to bring the cash into the region. And also I do think that it could be beneficial in many ways. Even attracting the investments from China into the region can boost the export into China, where the market is with great potential and great perspectives, especially with the recent shift in the model of Chinese model from export-led growth into the growth driven by demand and technologies.
Earlier, our special reporter, Roy Ruttenberg, was on special assignment in Romania, and you saw him visiting that. China obviously not only wants to sell goods, but they also want to have a sense of probably influence in that region as well. Which country does China target the most in terms of ensuring that there's a significant level of influence?
Well, it's a hard question. And I think we should look broadly at the countries from the region. And obviously, the biggest country in the region is Poland, the country I come from. Also when we look at the trade and investments, it's one of the most important partners from the region, we can also see this in mutual bilateral relations. But also countries as Hungary, as Czech, Slovenia, and Romania, they are very important for China. However, what I would like to stress here is that the Central and Eastern European countries, they really diverse. You have the EU member and non-EU member. You have Eurozone member, non-Eurozone member countries with different backgrounds and culture. So I would stress that it's really important for the countries from the region to cooperate on the common policy towards China, to shape the relations, but also to stress the importance of consistent policy. The other thing is the importance of consistent with the EU policy, which we are part of.
Kartatsina Narwat, thank you very much. A fascinating relationship between China and Eastern Europe. Thank you very much. Now,